Well, thank you for coming. Let's see how it goes. The first time I go do this talk, so I was very happy because they gave me this. Like I can use my hands now, but no, I cannot. So we're going to talk a little bit about AI agents and MCP servers and LLMs and what we have learned doing these things at Docker. This is me talking about what I do. I used to do research at Docker, and then I did platform, and now I'm the AI tools, doing AI tools. So AI is moving very fast, right? And it's really difficult to keep up. Corporate slide that says that, oh, AI is very important, indeed. Right? But the reality is that in Docker, we've been busy for a while, doing a lot of stuff. Right? What have we done? We have created something we call the model runner. We have created an agent, an AI agent called Gordon. I'll tell you why. And then we have the MCP Catalogue and the MCP Toolkit. Who here knows about MCP? Okay, good. So the Docker model runner is about running LLMs in your machine. Right? You can pull a model the way that you pull a Docker image, and you can run them locally, and you can use the GPU, which you cannot do if you do it inside of a container because live. So you have now a way of locally mapping what you will have in production-ish, right? So we have a CLI that allows us to do all these things. Let me show you the CLI, not this CLI. These are the CLI. Good. So you can do Docker model LS, and it'll tell you the models that you have, and you can go and ask the model things. You can talk with the model. It's not super fast because my machine is a little bit old, but hey. And eventually it will answer. But if you ask this question and you don't put the after, I can make it bigger if you need. It eventually will happen. And if you don't put the after, the answer is very different, right? Which is something which is important to understand later. Where are we? Here. Okay. So you can tell the way that we do it with Olama and the way that we've been dealing with models locally. If you're building an application that needs to use the model that you have in your machine, you can just, very easy connection, right? So, okay, that's the model, that's the knowledge. We have created an AI agent, right, like a robot that, But it's more like this. It's more like this, It's not like that, it's more like this. Because we call it Gordon. Because Gordon used to be a mascot that we have. I asked Gordon tell me where your name comes from, and Gordon answered, it's a turtle. Right? It was a real turtle. That this is Solomon's machine, and they had this mascot because. So I can show you Gordon in real life. It's here. And same thing, you can ask questions and you can do the same thing that we do. Like, and then Gordon will answer. One of the things that we have with this AI agent is tools. We have the ability to do things. And these are the tools that we have, right? And this is what is called the MCP server, blah, 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 which I'll cover in a bit. Right, so we have the agent and we have the tools. Excellent. One of the things that you can do is to ask Gordon to optimize your Docker file, because nobody does it. How do I know? Because I said I did research. And one of the things I did is like, how is the quality of the Docker files in the world? Terrible. Yeah, well, like, let's not lie, right? So you can go and say, improve my Docker file. And now it's going to go and read the file that I have in this directory. I should have showed you, but so it's going to find a Docker file. It's going to make a suggestion about how to improve it. Right? Oh, you should do this, you should do that. And at the end, it will ask you, do you want me to do it? Which is the other thing that happens. Is a lot of people build all these agents, and the agents, you see, do you want to rewrite it? No, because then they tell me off. But So this is the Docker file that I have, right? But it's one of the things that we learn very quickly is that people don't want to know, they want to do, right? So that's why MCP become so important, because MCP is the way that we have to make the agents to do things, right? So I'm sure that if you've been following AI, you've been listening to all these people talking about RAG and Gen AI and blah, blah. And all of a sudden, we're just talking about AI agents and MCPs. Like, what's going on? Second slide. Things are moving very fast. Yeah. So there's a lot of confusion, and I'm trying to address it, right? Like when people talk about agents, usually they talk about workflows. They don't talk about real agents. It's like agents that are completely autonomous. You have customer support bots, maybe, and Cursor and Copilot, these coding tools. There are not many agents that are built yet. What you have is a bunch of workflows, right? So RAG is about making things better for the LLM. You're giving more context to the LLM to be able to understand you better. When I did this question, where are you? When I did this question here to the models and like, what can I do with blah, blah, if I don't put this after, right, if I don't put the after, the answer is terrible. It tells me to go to shopping. Go shopping. Go to the museums. It's like, oh, damn it, that doesn't matter. Right, so like RAG helps you to provide the context that the model needs for the agent to do what you want to do, right? So what happens with the workflows? Well, I showed you the thing about the Docker file. One thing that we can do is we define a workflow. And now you can go and say, actually, when you want to improve my Docker file, when you want to do these other tasks, what I really want you to do is to follow this process. And then each of these tasks might be one of these agents that do one thing. Right? Like this is the model that I've seen a lot. This you can do. It's okay. It's very similar to how we build software, right? Building autonomous agents, it's very tricky because how do you test it? How do you validate? How do you make sure that the agent does what you are asking to do? Prompts, but you know. So yeah, this is what we have seen a lot happening, right? Now, this is a classic AI. Like this is what happens. You have the application, you have the LLM, you have tools, retrieval, and memory. Okay. Let's think about what we have here, right? It's like we have the agent, we have the model, and we have the tools. We have these little things, the Open API and the MCP client, right? Which you can go to the end of the room and say, okay, this is like when we were doing microservices and my applications and JDBC and databases, right? So what is really MCP? It's called Model Context Protocol, and it's a protocol. Thank you. And it's about a mechanism to standardize how an LLM is going to use the tools, right? And it comes with a bunch of lingo like host and clients and servers and resources and blah, 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 right? So like servers are the things that you are going to run that are doing things, connect to your database, that read your file system, that go to GitHub, etc. And clients are these things. This is the client that allows me to go and talk to the tools. This is how we translate for this guy to be able to say, oh, go and run this command in GitHub. Okay. So what we do is to give access to an application like Cloud Desktop or like Cursor or Docker Desktop to external tools, a database of files, a web browser, other applications, right? One of the things that happens is that the model has to support tool calling. Right? Like the model has to be able to say, go and fetch something from the internet or go and read these things. If your model doesn't support it, you cannot do it. even if you want to. And this is basically it, right? You have the client, and you have the API, and you have your model. Very simple. So, how MCPs are different from APIs? An MCP server is a new interface. It's not going to replace your API. And this is something that people are very confused. Like, we're not going to replace your API. Might replace certain parts of the UI. Right? It's like, do I need to go to Grafana to do certain things? Maybe not. Maybe I can use the MCP and go and do it, because guess what? I just need to have this information, right? So you can see an MCP server more as a client of your API that's a replacement of the API. Oh yeah, I need to show you the demo. So we have a client. This is Cloud Desktop. And one of the things that I've done is to go and ask Cloud Desktop, is like, look, because I knew that Paula was here, is like, can you go and analyze? I don't know if I can make it bigger. Yeah. Can you go and analyze Cratix and try to read all the GitHub issues and suggest more labels that can help to improve the contribution and understanding of the project? It took a while because life, right? But what you can see here is basically the LLM trying to go and fetch information, and when cannot do it because, well, internet or resources, tries to do something else. Like, oh, this has failed, let me try this, or let me try that. Eventually, managed to work, and now it comes and suggests a whole bunch of labels, right? That they might or might not want to adopt, and that's it. So if I was a consultant, I can go and say, like, yes, that's it, job done. Spend the whole week working really hard analyzing your GitHub, and here's the result. Thank you very much, right? But think about what happened. You go to this application, you ask a question, and the application goes to a whole bunch of places to fetch information. And then, boom. So we're building a catalog, a Docker, like MCP Catalogue. I'll show you, it's here. Please work. Hey, it works. It doesn't work very well because it's giving me this error on the top, but you know, I'm a developer. So we have a whole bunch of catalog or MCP servers here that you can go, like, I chose the worst one to show you. Like, let me go and show you GitHub. Right, so we have GitHub official. It has a lot of tools. We have my API, and then I can add it. And now I can consume this from Gordon, or I can consume this from other places like Cursor. Cursor has MCPs here, right? And let me make it bigger. So we have a few tools here. Now I'm going to refresh because I added the one from GitHub, and now it's complaining because Cursor doesn't like when you have too many, which is a problem, right? This is a problem that clients have. How Cloud Desktop solves this problem of too many tools? It allows you to select or deselect the ones that you want to use. And they do it because sending all these tools to the LLM is very expensive for them. So they said, we have to cut costs. Just put this, people will love it. Yes. Right, so, okay, so what is the difference between using this Docker catalog and using something else? You can come to the UI and add, as you're saying, right? You can come and add GitHub, or I can add, I don't know, Brave. No, because you need an API. Something else. This one, DuckDuckGo. Rather than let me remove GitHub. And this one. And if I go back to Cursor and refresh, it's telling me that, because like I have an MCP server that is for my 3D printer, but I managed to break this installation and it's still here. You should have not been able to see this, but you are. So here we go. But you see now you have these two tools that you can use. Right? But this is the whole point, that you don't have to worry about when you're using the catalog. That you just come here and connect. If you don't want to do it, you can do it manually. It's like SQLite. You have to go and write this beautiful JSON. Or not, and then just doing this, and that's it. The other thing we do is we allow to connect to clients. You can connect to Gordon, you can connect to Claude, and you can do it from the CLI as well, of course, because we are developers, right? So you can do Docker MCP, MCP client. Now, what happens is that Cursor and VS Code allow you to define these things per project, but sometimes you want to do it for the machine, and then you can configure. I have Cursor configured in global, but you can do it per project, right? It's like different people like different things, and that is okay. Okay. I feel I'm forgetting something, but this is my life. Okay, I show you this. So if you want to make an MCP server, this is how you have to think. Don't think as a developer that is building an API. That is not what you have. What you have to think is like a product manager is like, what is the problem that these people are going to have? And what are the things I'm going to do to help them? Buy them a drink, give them tissues, right? So it's like, instead of exposing them the tasks that we have in an Ansible playbook, just think about, maybe what you want is to update all the web servers. So create a tool in your MCP server that does that and hide all the other complexity, right? It's like, don't create a mapping one-to-one to your API. There's a lot of people who are doing it. Let's see how successful this model is. But so, classic application that we've done several times. New application with AI. What is the difference? That we add AI to the solution. We do not rewrite the solution. If you have to rewrite the solution, means that this was not a good solution. People don't like when I say these things, but that's, it's how it is. So what happens with the AI agents? They have to do things like they have to understand, they have to be able to reason, they have to be able to plan, very important, and then they have to go and execute all these different. And clearly I forgot to put bold letters here, and this is probably the most important thing, the error management, right? Being able to recover from something that, oh, this was going to do this, but is not. Oh, you run out of credit now, you cannot do something, right? It's the story of my life, right? So this is basically what happens, this is cycle. This is very similar to what we have in Kubernetes with the controller pattern. So, it's just like, if you were doing Kubernetes, now you can do AI, no problem, right? What's the other thing that happens? One of the things that we learn is that the most important thing is a prompt. System prompts, user prompts, prompt injection, how to protect from naughty prompts. Right? And how you test something like this, super hard, because LLMs are not deterministic, right? People are talking now about multi-agent, great, but in reality, when they talk about multi-agents, what they're talking is about a workflow, right? So like, keep thinking about this mental model, like, what is this really what you want to do? Do you want to have a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of things? Do you want to have several of these things doing it? Who's going to coordinate them? The AI agent manager, right? So you can look at things like Crew AI and LangGraph and these things that allow you to define a workflow, right? And think about the interaction paths that you have, like if it's a hierarchical, or if it's a sequential, or if it's something dynamic that you have to go and, depending on how many open tickets I have, I will do this or I will do that. How many pods are alive? None. These things, right? Building an agent orchestrator is super hard, right? But building a workflow orchestrator is much, much easier. Right? So think in these terms. Okay, what about platform? How many here are platform engineers? Good. So one of the things I did at Docker last year was to create a platform GPT. It was very good. Nobody used it. And nobody used it because people don't really want to know how to add alerts to this or how to. Nobody cares. What they care is about My application needs alerting, deal with it. Okay, that means that maybe what we have to do is to create an agent that knows how to handle alerting for your organization, right? Doing Gen AI in platform, it's relatively simple because you know what? We have a lot of standardization, Docker files and Terraform and Helm. Helm is a bit hit and miss sometimes, but yeah. But it's great. You can generate a lot of boilerplate code. Code is lines of code, right? And the other thing that is very important is to understand that it's not about doing something, it's about doing something according to certain rules. And the rules that we have at Docker and the rules that they have at Monzo, they're different. Similar, but different, right? So there's a very good article from Anthropic. The QR code should tell you that, and you have all these different diagrams that explain how to do things and how to build really beautiful agents. And that's it. Thank you.